So we had almost 487 registrations. Let's see how many join in now. Already 18 have come in 1 minute's time.
Okay. Sure.
So let's see how many are. So we'll start in a couple of minutes. We'll just wait for everybody to join.
Ramakrishna, you are in Mumbai or Pune?
I'm in Mumbai.
Mumbai.
I stay like very near to your campus,
Is
Fine.
it? Okay.
just outside Hiranandani.
I see. Okay.
Nahar.
Nahar, all right.
Nahar, Amrit Shakti.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, I was supposed to buy a house there. It was very cheap those days, but nobody's going. 1,800 rupees per square feet it was. Then I bought
True
in Chakala.
Okay. That's where our office is.
Where is your office?
Acme Plaza, just opposite Divine Child.
Yeah, I know Acme Plaza. It's very close by.
That's where we are.
Mr. Dias, just a clarification, or have you started letting people in? Can they hear us?
Yeah, we have already started people coming in. One 177. Should we begin? And by the time we finish introduction, everybody joins?
Yes.
Huh?
Sure.
Good evening to one and all. Trust all of you are safe at home and you are using this lockdown period constructively. Business Standard Learning guest lecture webinar series in association with IBS. The topic for today is employment in the new normal, essentials for success. And our speaker for the day is Mr. Ramakrishna Vayamjala. He's head HR of HFFC. We also have the director of IBS, Dr. Preeti Saxena, along with us today here. I would like to speak something about Dr. Preeti ma'am first. Dr. Saxena is a dual postgraduate and has done a master's degree in science from Gujarat University and marketing management from NMIMS. She has done her PhD in advertising and consumer behavior from SNDT University, Mumbai. She has over 16 years of work experience in FMCG industry. She is a recipient of prestigious Devang Mehta Award for Best Teacher in Marketing Management, Star News Award for Best Professor Teaching Advertising Management, and Best Faculty Award for her contribution to the institutional development of IBS Mumbai. We have here Rita ma'am, who is the Dean of IBS, who will introduce our speaker for the day today. to Rita ma'am.
So may I introduce Mr. Ramakrishna Vyamajala? I think you can broadcast Mr.
We can hear
Ramakrishna
you.
on the screen so that when I read, he's visible to everyone. Mr. Ramakrishna Vyamajala, RV, as he is fondly known by everyone. And I think we'll stick to RV because he wants it that way throughout the discussion. RV heads the HR function of one of the fastest growing housing finance providers in the country, Home First. As head HR, he works with the business in developing people strategies to ensure that his organization is the first choice for emerging talent. Mr. Ramakrishna has worked with IDFC, now IDFC First Bank, operating across all businesses of IDFC and has led interventions in compensation, benefits, and reward strategies, and has played a role in setting up IDFC First Bank. As Senior Director at IDFC First Bank, he led the entire shared services and corporate services unit. Earlier, he has also headed HR at Sterlite Technologies, Power Transmission, and Vedanta Resources at their Hindustan Zinc plant in Udaipur. Mr. Ramakrishna sees HR as a science rather than as an art and innovates every HR intervention. He is an avid cricketer and believes in keeping himself fit. Today, he is going to speak about employment in the new normal, essentials for success. But before that, we invite our director, Dr. Preeti Saxena, to deliver the presidential welcome address for this session and set the context, and then invite RV to start the discussion. Questions, if any, can be placed in the chat and will be navigated by Mr. Agnello and I after the session. Ma'am, may I invite you to deliver the presidential address?
Thank you so much, Dr. Rita. Pleasure being with all of you. First of all, Business Standard, yes, for providing us such a huge platform where we could almost have our students register. You know, the batch size of IBS Mumbai crosses 1,000. You know, with the students who have been interning right now are 1,000 plus. And we were wondering, you know, how do we get maximum number of students to get the benefit of the industry speaker? Had we gone on our own, we would have just stopped at 100. But it was excellent of Business Standard to come forward and help us with this platform. Our relations with Business Standard, definitely I want to put it on record that they have been excellent. All our students read Business Standard. There are hard copies that are delivered every day for the students. And the students have been participating in not many programs that Business Standard arranges, and students have been coming forward, whether it is internship or any other competitive event, which is essential for a B-School participation. I would like to also acknowledge HFFC, from where I have my speaker today, Mr. Ramakrishna. HFFC, our relations with HFFC are also, we depend a lot on HFFC. They've been coming year on year to take students from us. It's almost more than a decade that our students have been getting placed with HFFC, and they've made excellent careers. And when they come back and tell us about the kind of working environment and the kind of support that they get from the organization, we are encouraged to push more students to HFFC. Not only that they come and hire, they also come and train our students for hiring. The topic today is so contemporary, and I'm so excited when I hear the word new normal. And sometimes I feel, is it just a jargon, or is there a definition to it? You know, we do not have sufficient data to define what is a new normal, you know, if we are looking at it, because it's such an unprecedented situation that if we have to support it with some kind of data, I don't have anything right now with me. But if somebody asks me what is a new normal to you, I would say, oh my God, right from doing the task of a maid to the dhobi, the kitchen, to the kind of cleaning, washing, sweeping, swabbing, all kinds of things. I think that's the new normal if somebody asks today. Then you will leave it to that, but that's the true story. And I also feel that, are we going to be dependent on technology so much the way we are dependent on air to breathe and survive? Because this is what is happening. Even if for 10 minutes, if there is no electricity or no internet, we almost become helpless and we feel that we are not in this world. We do not have an existence, we do not have any presence if there was no technology. So is technology going to define our existence? But there is a lot of silver lining into the whole thing. You know, when I heard the Prime Minister talk, the latest address that he had to the people of the country, and the kind of things that he spoke, you know, that we need to be self-reliant, we need to, you know, the kind of upliftment that he's talking about, the micro and small medium enterprises, that's one of the sectors, you know, I do not want to put it in the category of an unorganized sector, but for an understanding, if we have to define them as that, then that is almost providing something like 70 plus kind of employment if one has to look, you know, and compare it with the kind of organized versus an unorganized. And if that sector gets the kind of upliftment or the lift, then I see that there is going to be so many employment opportunities for the students as well as for the people who are already into the serving age. So I would go back to Ramakrishna and put a few questions to him to help us define, and definitely a lot of concerns that my students would be having, that in this new normal, what is expected out of an employee, what is expected from an employer. Can we highlight something in terms of expectation management of these students, and what do they need to work? And people have been talking, you know, whether it is skill set or is it a mindset, you know. So should we start working on the mindset of these students and skill sets will follow? Or do you suggest that, yes, the institutes and educational, the universities need to convert themselves to work on the entrepreneurial mindset of students and provide them an ecosystem which can lead to self-reliance, as the Prime Minister is talking? What is it that the corporates would be looking from the students, and can we prepare our students to take care of the requirements of the corporates? So over to Ramakrishna.
Thank you so much, Dr. Preeti Saxena. I think a very warm welcome to all of you who joined into the to the session. Overwhelming response. Thank you so much. Pleasure and honor to be with you guys. One of the things that Preeti ma'am had said about students from IBS coming in and doing very well with us. Our head of sales and marketing, national head of sales and marketing, is ex-IPS. So I mean, what more that I can say about your students? I think and a very successful one. He's been with the organization for 8 years, worked with other prestigious brands before joining us. But yeah, I mean, and tons of many more people. I just thought I'll name one. So Gaurav Mahtab, our head of sales and marketing, is ex-IBS. And quite a few people from there who've done well. From the last batch, I think we've hired a few people. So they've also joined us some time back. So we have excellent rapport with you guys. You guys have been doing very well. So please continue to do that. And I think there will be a few changes, like what Preeti was saying. What else will change in the new normal? It's going to be a tough question to answer to all of you guys. So let me start off. Let me just first of all share my screen. You guys will be able to see my screen in a bit. I want to first ask you guys the question: what do you think is the new normal? So I have a small poll going. If you guys can see this, it's on www.menti menti.com. You can use your phones or your or your laptop. Just get onto menti.com, use the code 275447, and in one word, tell me what do you think the new normal will be. The poll is open. You guys can do that. I'll pause for a couple of minutes before you can. Am I audible? People can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, got the first word. Okay, keep it going. Very, very interesting thoughts. Keep it going. I'll hold for another minute. I think I'm getting some very, very interesting inputs from you guys, so I can hold for a minute or two before I move on. Cool. I think I've got a decent amount of inputs. I think one thing that stands out is new opportunities. It kind of keeps coming. Change is the other piece. Change and constant change. A lot of votes for work from home, like what we are doing today, like a lot of other people are doing today. Technology and disruption keeps coming up. Very nice. Cool. Thank you so much. We'll stop the voting now, and then we can. Yes, I can. Check. So I've closed the voting so that it doesn't keep changing. Okay. So moving on. If you were to pause and look at this for a minute, I mean, change, new opportunities, technology, adaptability, self-reliance, etc., is coming out. But what is coming out is that there is a lot more that we don't know today, right? So there are so many things that we are going to come across in the near future that we honestly don't know what's going to be the new normal. So trying to understand the employment in new normal is going to be as as tough or as difficult as the blind leading the blind. So today I'm going to spend some time with you guys on understanding how things were in the past. What do we speculate in the industry? So I've been talking to a lot of people in the HR community, business community, to understand what do they think, what do they assume the new normal is going to be, and how things are going to move. And from there, I have a few thoughts, quips, interesting anecdotes, information, and some thoughts around how do you become successful. I mean, so all of you students, how do you want to, if you were to prepare for the new normal, what are the things that you want to focus on? So that's going to be my flow for the afternoon / evening. So we'll get into evening by the time I finish the session. So that's going to be my kind of focus for today. By the end of it, I guess I might leave you with more questions than answers. Honestly, because I'm also left with a lot of questions than answers. Today, we don't absolutely know what is going to happen tomorrow and day after and so on and so forth. So what I will do is try and attempt a few things on what's going to happen. What do we think is the new order going to be, the new normal going to be? And if that is so, what will help you succeed? And if that is not so, I don't know what will happen. So let me pause there and then start off the session. Taking you through what we think some changes that will come through. I'll start with a few. I wouldn't say bad news, but yeah, I mean, I put it out there. Some bad news in terms of what's gonna happen. I mean, some uncomfortable truth about what's in it for us, or what's going to be the future. The jobs that we know and prepared for may not exist. I mean, you might have been through classes where how do you do a handshake? What is body posture? How do you put yourself out there in the market? How do you collaborate with people? How do you work with teams which are very, very close? All of those things that you might be preparing today in your B school and elsewhere may not be relevant at all, because the sales are going to happen online. A lot of people are going to work out of home, so they would hardly get to meet each other. Even if you are in the same organization, you won't meet each other physically for maybe months together. So you might have prepared on how you can show your confidence by having a firm handshake, etc. But all of that preparation may just go out of the window. So that's just one example of what might change. Another one is a lot of problem solving stuff that we used to sit and do might just get outsourced to machines, because things will become, as things will become more clearer going forward. You would start seeing that technology is going to play a huge role in kind of getting us back up in the economy. So I mean, even in the Prime Minister's address, he spoke about leveraging technology and so on and so forth. So which is what everybody else is also talking about today. So one of the big changes that we see is that problem solving, or techniques that you would have learned around problem solving, etc., is going to get highly and heavily digitized, because that is going to become the new normal for a lot of other organizations which are in the space. The next piece that you would start seeing is that a lot of what we learned in the past about, okay, this is marketing, or this is product, this is sales, and this is innovation, this is customer focus, etc., may just become irrelevant. The world might become one whole fuzzy animal that might have features of marketing, features of product, features of customer. You might start seeing people who were doing product might start thinking more marketing. People who were doing marketing might start thinking more cost. So the whole aptitude, or the learning that you would have, the knowledge that you would have built up over the period around how businesses are run, how the organization structures are, a lot of lectures that you would have heard about all of these things may just become irrelevant just day after tomorrow, and things still start moving forward. So that's the quantum of change that we are looking at, and kind of anticipating. As I said, I mean, again, it's a little bit of speculation from my end, from a lot of research that I've been doing. Honestly, the research in itself is very, very nascent in this field, right? It's just 4 months that the pandemic has hit us. So the research that has happened in this space is just 4 months old. So I can't say that it's a year-long research or years and years put into it. It's just 4 months of data, 4 months of information, 4 months of a lot of speculation that people are doing today. All of that put together is what we are talking about. A couple of very, very interesting business models may just go belly up. I mean, this is my, I hope these guys don't go out of business. These are my favorite trousers. But honestly, I don't know who's buying trousers now. It's just belly up and not belly down that people are bothered about. So yeah, I mean, while I do want them to stay put and work well, but these are business models that have emerged in the last 5-10 years that may suddenly find that they don't have a business model anywhere. They don't have the clientele that they used to have before, etc., etc. So something like this is also going to happen in the near future. Is something that we are anticipating. The last piece, and this is something that might be very close to your hearts. I mean, people who are preparing for placements, etc. As organizations, we will start seeing that a lot of different sets of people are going to apply for the same jobs, because tomorrow, going forward, I may start thinking of how I can run credit appraisals sitting out of home, right? How can I build algorithms which will do a credit appraisal which my RM used to go and do it on the field. So because today you may not be able to go to the field, and you will not be safe if you are to be on the field, I would rather prefer somebody who's sitting and creating an algo which can do this data crunching and figure out whether we should invest and whether we should lend to that person or not. And therefore, you will not be the only person then vying or applying for that job. There will be a lot of other people who otherwise were not looking at this job will now start seriously looking at these. So the competition for the same jobs that are out there is going to come from very, very different sources and very diverse sources. I think diversity is going to become one of the biggest things that organizations will now focus on. And there will be a lot more opportunity for people who otherwise would not have got the opportunities before. So for people like you and me who want to do that field job, we may not be the only people applying for that. You might start getting people from a very unknown, different source that will be applying for that job. So I want to take a pause here and kind of say, guys, there is a lot of tough environment that's going to come out once things start settling down, and once we kind of move into a new normal. And why it is called new normal is because it's not going to be the same that it was before. It's going to be different. It's going to be tough. It's going to be very, very how would I put it? I think you guys might be getting the sense. It's a tough world out there. It's only going to get tougher. While I wish I could give you guys a hug, I can virtually give one. You do need a hug now to kind of say, you know what, things are not going to be that easy. But I would also want to say that things are not going to be that bad either. Whenever a crisis hit, what history has taught us is that when a crisis hit, there are things that are going to change. There are attitudinal shifts that are going to happen, and new ways of working, new behaviors, new policies are going to come up. So for example, when 9/11 happened, the aviation industry came together to completely revamp their security. So today, the flights are much more secure than it was pre 9/11. Prior to World War II, women never had the opportunity to be part of the workforce. I mean, and come World War II, a lot of men went out to fight the war, and you had all these organizations needing people to work, and they went for women. And I mean, while this may sound a little more sexist in that sense, but that's the crisis that kind of made a quantum leap, a quantum jump in the way things started moving from what it was prior to that event happening. The whole SARS epidemic increased the whole e-commerce piece that we never would have thought about. I mean, today I spoke about buying my trousers online. I don't think I would have thought about it when I was in college. I mean, it was a family affair. My parents would take me to the store. We would try 10 trousers, buy 2. Today I do that with a click of a button. So all of that consumer behavior changes have happened because a crisis hit us. So crisis is not just something that will change the world for worse. It might also be an opportunity for the world to become better. Like what it has happened with World War II, the world has become better because we have a more gender neutral policy in the organizations. The world has become better because e-commerce has come in. The world has become safer because the aviation sector has taken threats a lot more seriously, and they've made it a lot more stricter, though I have to stand in the line for 5 minutes more, but I think it's for my own safety, right? So that's what history has taught us. And that takes me to the question that I had for all of you guys. What do you think is your preparedness for the world that is going to be? And then I'll talk about it. So this again open for you guys can sorry, let me just sorry, my bad. You can, I guess you can go to same menti.com, the same code 275447, and start responding. Miles to go before I sleep. Yes. Give it a minute more. Thank you for the rock star.
जैसे वो बढ़ते जा रहे हो नीचे आएगा।
Give it another minute and we can. "30 seconds more, and I can move." Cool. Let me hold you guys here. I think thank you so much for making me feel that positive even after the series of points that I made out. You guys are way more confident than I am. I guess I am somebody who's still wondering what's going to happen. But yeah, I definitely understand the sentiment. There is a lot more positivity now than even when I started preparing this presentation. Okay, 4-5 days back when I started the presentation, I would have kind of tilted a lot more towards I don't know what's happening, to now a lot more towards miles to go before I sleep. I mean, there's a lot more confidence in me that is coming up, while a lot more people from you guys are very confident. So it's very, very good to know. Very, very good to know. So let's keep that confidence going. I might give you a few more positive thoughts around how the world is going to be going forward. This is again, as I said, coming from the speculation, coming from the conversations that we are having in the business community, conversations that we are having in the HR community, conversations that we are having with the academicians, the economists. So I'll summarize everything into 3 points, and then I will get into something that we will talk about. So new business models are going to emerge, and more than that, and what is more important for all of you guys is that new roles are going to emerge. Something that was not available before, like what we were saying, something that was not a competition before is going to become a competition. Similarly, something that you never thought was an opportunity is going to become an opportunity. So, for example, yesterday's conversations around finance minister's inputs around, say, MSME, increasing the investment limit in the small and medium scale enterprises. Today, you can start looking at some of these small and medium enterprises to be a good starting point for your own careers. because they are in an exciting phase. A lot of people want to invest in them. Bank guarantees are coming. Our government is looking at them very, very positively. So today, when you thought, you can only get placed in large organization, or you want to only work for them, a very different role in the small and medium scale enterprises about how do you ensure growth, for example, is going to become a very, very hot skill. So if today I'm an MSME owner, a small enterprise owner, I knew I could only grow up to 2 crores of investment. Tomorrow, I know that I can grow up to 10 crores of investment. So how do I bring in that 10 crores? Because my mentality hasn't changed from 2 crores, right? Because I've been doing this business for almost 10 years, and I've been always staying at 2 crores because I didn't want to move out of that comfort zone. So today I got an opportunity to get into 10 crores. Who will help me? I think the B school graduates like you guys are going to help me, right? So that's a new role that's going to emerge. It's just one example of what's going to happen in going forward. But a traditional role may go out of the window, but a completely new role might come up, which is going to give you a lot more satisfaction and maybe more money than what it would have otherwise come to. That's just one example of new models. Technology will not be an option going forward. It is going to be a necessity. So all you tech savvy youngsters are going to see that if you go into an organization which has a lot more older people, you might just become the center of attention for everybody, because you would know how to operate or leverage the newer technologies that are going to come up going forward than anybody else who's already in that organization for last 10, 15, 20 years and has been used to doing the same thing over and over again. So you might just become the center of attraction the moment you get into the organization. So that's a great positive sign that's going to come up. The last piece is that the world might want to come back stronger. I mean, it has been pushed back. The world has been pushed to a corner. Each one of us is now sitting in one corner of our house, just hoping and praying that this will go away. And when the chance comes, we might come back with a huge amount of positivity, rigor, and strength, that the demand and growth might just skyrocket. I mean, this again, as I said, is speculation, taking into account what's the sentiment around. I feel there's going to be a huge amount of demand and growth that's going to come in our way. So that's the positivity that's there. So how do you prepare? And I want to give you a small example again of how things are going to be, right? You're now sitting at home. A lot more people going forward are going to sit at home. So there might be a few things that are going to kind of lose out, right? An air travel, a mass transit, business travel, commercial real estate, eating out. A few of these things will actually go down in terms of demand. But what do you see here? That for the same thing that we're going to see, for every 1 or 2 decrease in consumption, there will be 4 to 5 increases in consumption. So for example, my own working from home, I now have to set up a home office. I need to buy a table. I need to buy a chair. I need to do a bit of adjustments with my Wi-Fi. I need to buy an additional router, all of that, which I would have otherwise not bothered, because I would have used all of those services at home, at office. Sorry, my desk, my printer, all of that. So today we used to have one printer for 100 people who are in an office. Tomorrow you will need to buy 100 printers for 100 people, right? So that's going to be the increase in demand that we are going to see for the same issue that we are facing today. And one of the things that might start going down, which is, say, a commercial real estate piece. So honestly, there is a huge amount of positivity that we see from what is going to emerge. So how do you prepare for that? What will get you there? I think this is the part of the presentation or the conversation that you guys might be wanting to understand. Okay, I know where we are, but how do I get the maximum out of where we are? And honestly, for all the rock stars out there, I guess you guys are doing some of the points that I've listed out here. Yeah, I mean, and if you Google how do I become successful in the new normal, some of these pieces will any which ways come out there. But what I'm going to bring to you is a more practitioner's perspective, someone who's kind of lived with change, seen a couple of changes already in the past, a couple of issues like a financial crisis, a 9/11, something that happened in front of my eyes. I've kind of seen how the world has evolved. So I'm giving you a practitioner's perspective on what a lot of successful people have done. So one of the things that will be very, very important for you to build is resilience. I mean, this is from Driven University. These guys do a bit of training around resilience. So resilience training is something that is their core competence. So I picked up a slide from there. It talks about 6 important areas that you have to build yourself on. One is not get overwhelmed. I mean, you should have a vision for yourself. Where do you want to go? But don't get overwhelmed. Regulate your emotions. Solve problems with reasoning. Anticipate a lot of things that you need to do. And very often, something that is missed out in various organizations is the focus on health. So one of the things that is going to go up substantially is health and wellness, about how people are, how strong they are mentally, physically, so that they're able to ride through this pandemic and also come back strongly will depend on how healthy the workforce is. So as an organization, we have spent a lot of time and money and effort in improving the health of the employees that we have. Similarly, all of you need to build on your health, do a lot of exercise, ensure that you are strong enough to kind of cater to anything that might be thrown at you. Build a lot of tenacity. You need to have a bit of realistic optimism about yourself. You should know that you will be able to bounce back every time you hit a roadblock. So something like that. And the most important thing that will get you guys through is collaboration. Working with each other is the only way to be successful. If you don't build the level of collaboration that you would want, organizations are going to need collaboration a lot more than what they used to do before. Because if you can work with each other, I mean, if you are sitting in office, some way or the other, you will find ways and means to work. While each one of you will be at home and working on a project, it's going to be tougher if you're not collaborating enough. It's impossible for leaders to get you guys together if you're not collaborating enough. So one of the things that you will have to build over the period of time is to how do you create a group of networking with other people, managing perceptions, and collaborating with each other. So that's point number 1 in terms of how do you build for the future. The second piece that I would want you guys to think it and do is unlearn a lot of things that you will start seeing going forward would be in direct opposition to what you have learned in the past. So you need to have the ability to unlearn these outdated practices. Don't get stuck. So this is a slide which we use a lot more for the corporate employees, people who have been in the industry for 3, 5, 10 years. But it is also important for you guys to unlearn a lot of these practices that you might have been told, a lot of things that you might have learned. There is a time that will come when you will have to relearn things very, very differently. So that's the other piece that I would want you to focus on. Build a lot of data literacy. So you need to now start working with a lot more information and data that you would do otherwise. It will not be possible for organizations to spoon feed, decision making and data literacy to its employees. So they will go for people who are more literate, more understanding of the information that is being presented to them, than somebody who would depend on others for data. And they would think that, okay, I'm a great sales guy. I don't need to understand data. I'm a great marketing person. I come up with innovative ideas all the time. I don't want to understand data. that's not going to be the answer that the organizations are willing to take. So if you are a marketer, if you are a great, you come up with innovative product ideas, but you will now have to balance it out with a lot of focus on, the costing. You'll have to understand the market. You'll have to map out the market, build in a lot more data, and then come back and conclusively prove that your idea is better. You can't just come up with a great idea and just be it. That's going to be another piece that will hold you in great stead. I can go on and on with examples on data literacy, but I guess one of the things that you should definitely do is to focus here. The fourth piece is around critical thinking. While this is similar to the piece on resilience that I spoke about, but this has a lot more to do with how do you analyze and adapt to something that's going to happen in the future. So, and a more important thing is to communicate. If you don't understand something, you need to express it out. You need to go out there and talk about it. Talk to your seniors, talk to your peers, talk to your leaders, and then and I can't overemphasize the need for collaboration. For your ability to work with each other is going to stand you out. If you can't work with each other, I think you'll just get dropped as out of the reckoning, like you wouldn't have imagined. So this in the new norm, while critical thinking is the most important aspect of any job in the past as well, but this is going to become the most important thing going forward, because that's going to stand you apart from all the other people. And the last piece that I would want to talk to you guys and leave you with is to keep educating yourself. You don't think that, yes, I've passed out of MBA, I'm done. I'm not going to open that book again. Is not going to help you going forward. So you will need to keep educating yourself. You have to commit to, if you want to be successful, you need to commit to a lifetime of learning. The learning is never going to stop. And if you stop learning, I don't think you can grow in your careers. That's more a practitioner's view of having seen people grow and having understood people from seeing them in close quarters. So I want to stop here and get your questions. But I want to leave you guys with one thought. This is what my mentor taught me, told me when he first met, is that the best of you is ahead of you. So I think all of you need to remember that the best of you is definitely ahead of you. You don't need to be nervous. You don't need to be anticipating a lot of bad is going to happen. Yes, a lot of what I just spoke is speculation and conjecture, but it also comes from confidence of having seen quite a few such crises, not at the magnitude and not at the level of unpreparedness that we have got into today, but each crisis was in itself a very, very big one and kind of a learning opportunity for each one of us. So here I am talking to you guys about ensuring that you need to look forward to, you need to know that the best of you is in front of you, it's not behind you. So please stay positive, stay safe. I'll end my session here. We can get into questions. Let me stop broadcasting. Cool. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's me. Over to you, Dr. Preeti. Any questions?
There's a question in question box. It says,
okay.
I want to ask about what are new opportunities for sales guys.
Okay. So Himanshu, I can see your question. Himanshu, and for, I think a lot of people also are asking this. The way the sales is going to stay. I don't think sales is going to go off. It's the opportunity to do sales will also remain, because we will have to sell what we produce. But the way in which you're going to run sales, what you would have understood, how do you close a negotiation, how do you go and kind of meet a customer? How do you impress them in your first conversation, etc.? All of that is going to change. So you might have to learn techniques on how do you close. Say for example, you might have to start borrowing from all those small call centers that mushroomed, where people used to call and try and sell you stuff in the past. As a salesperson, you might have to learn a lot of techniques from them. How persistent they were in chasing out a customer on the phone while they could not meet that customer, but they would continuously, kind of ponder away at that person, keep calling till such time the customer budged and said, okay, tell me a little more. Then they would tell, and then they would have, the way in which they would convince, etc., etc. So that's a whole new skill that a lot of people who are in sales, or if you are learning sales, or you are a sales and marketing student in MBA B school, maybe you wouldn't have focused. I mean, I was a marketing major, so I did not focus on that. So definitely I can tell you guys, I don't think a lot of you would have focused on that. So you always thought the call center jobs were for the lowest rung of the students, but actually that skill might become very, very handy to all the salespeople, because you have to do 90% of your selling on the phone. You may be able to meet the customer, or you may never be able to meet the customer before you conclude the sale. So that's my long answer to your very short question. It's not going to be the new opportunities. It's the same opportunity, but you will have to do it very, very differently from what you were used to doing before.
Will opportunities for fresher increase in consumer research?
Yes, anonymous attendee. The consumer research space is going to boom. It's going to be one of the high-flying areas that I see in terms of opportunities, because there will be a lot more data that we don't know today that needs to kind of come through. Because as I pointed out, and I think Dr. Preeti Saxena as well spoke about, that a lot of research has not yet been done. It's a very nascent stage. So how the consumer behavior is going to change in the near future will be anybody's question. So you'll need to learn that as a skill, and there will be a lot more opportunity. So a lot of consumer research companies will hire more people. That's how I look at this.
Some people have even raised their hands, so I'll allow some people to ask a question directly.
Yep.
Okay, so Vinod, I have unmute you. Can you ask the question? Vinod Mohanty. Can you hear me, Vinod?
Vinod, I think still is on mute.
Yeah. Vinod, you can ask a question. Vinod Mohanty. Okay, Deepak, you can ask a question. Vinod Mohanty, Deepak Tiwari.
I guess they're having problems.
Meanwhile, sir, you can see the question in the question box.
Yeah. So let me take a few questions. I think I spoke about how Field's job will evolve. Okay, I have a long question from Prakash Kumar. In the current uncertain environment where only a handful industries are doing business, whereas workforce is growing exponentially, how do management institutes and their students plan to inculcate in the new normal? Okay, so what you're saying is, yes, I mean, the uncertain environment is going to be a very short-lived one. I think we will all get back to business. I mean, it's going to be the necessary thing. We have we've done enough of our survival piece. We've survived. Now we'll have to grow. Survival stage is something that we've already passed. So one of the things that you guys should do as management institutes, students planning, is to kind of do a lot more reading in what's happening, in how new business models are evolving, and try and work towards creating and inculcating those skills. Like I said, I don't think you can learn everything that's going to happen in the new world. But what you can definitely do is to tune your mindset towards becoming a lot more agile. It's not going to be about, the game is not about skills, a lot of skills. It's going to be about a lot more open mind, and how that open mind is able to help you navigate the uncertainty, navigate the change that is hitting you. And if you're able to do that, I guess learning the skill that is needed will be very, very easy.
Anuj Goyal, can you hear me? Anuj Goyal?
Yes, good evening, sir.
Hey Anuj, good evening.
Yes, sir. I want to ask, are the finance jobs in danger in the near future?
We are a finance company, we're not. We're doing pretty well. So we will continue to. I think if you were to, I'll take an example. If you were to see the entire growth story that Mr. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, spoke about, the one ministry which came out and gave all the details was Finance Ministry. Because everybody believes if you have to grow from, finance has to make the biggest in the survival and in the growth. So a lot more emphasis is going to be placed on how you're able to get capital out there for anything to work. I mean, agriculture, manufacturing, services, or any other thing to survive and grow. Capital is going to be the most important factor, and therefore, I don't think the finance jobs are in danger.
Thank you, sir.
Ankita Lohia, can you speak?
Good evening, sir. It was a good learning, sir. So I have a major question that whether we should go with the diversified course or with a particular specialization we are focusing on.
I mean, honestly, specialization is good, but there are things that are going to change within the specialization. So your ability to kind of consume information from multi-disciplines will hold you in a very, very good stead. Because say, for example, an HR professional has to do 90% of his work as, as a, as a sales guy. So when I'm trying to recruit, I'm trying to sell a job, right? When I'm trying to explain a performance management system to my employees, I'm trying to sell a product that I've built. When I'm trying to explain disciplinary action, I'm trying to sell what's best for the organization in the context of what has happened. So everything that an HR person does is sales, honestly. So similarly, you might have the specialization of one function, but if you do not appreciate and understand the good that comes from different functions and different disciplines, then you would not be in a position to do your job better. I just feel that having a multidisciplinary understanding is going to make a huge difference in your growth than having a very narrow specialization. While specialization is good, but your mind should be open for multidisciplinary thought process. I mean, you should believe that every other function has a lot more to contribute to you than your own function.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Ankita.
Please.
Yeah, I wanted to ask the question as to how the field sales jobs will evolve now, because you are saying that there will be some kind of uncertainty in the market, and there are new norms like saying namaste and not shaking hands.
Yeah.
So how will the field sales jobs be defined in the future? Because since people are going to maintain social distancing and all that, so how will these jobs evolve? Because most of our freshers, I'm a placement officer at at ICFI Pune, so most of our students get recruited for field sales jobs. So how these jobs will get evolved, sir?
So I think I may not know the full answer to that. So we are also thinking on how our own people. So it will depend on how we will go ahead and do sales going forward, and some of it. So one of the things that I spoke about in the conversation was that how you can learn from the people who are doing the call center jobs, right? So there is a lot of work that they do, which is kind of not taken into account when you're doing a field sales role, because you might get to meet the customer much lesser than what you would otherwise do. So maybe there will be some elements of how call centers work and how do you bring in that into field sales. Second is a lot more data. I mean, understanding and attracting only those customers where you can make the sale by using data, by using a lot of analysis, etc. before you even hit the customer. Today, if you had like a roster of 10 customers, you would go one by one and meet all 10 customers, right?
Correct.
So that will change. I mean, you will now dig in and get a lot more data and information about all the 10 customers.
Correct.
You will use some analysis. You'll kind of figure out what are the who are the top 3 customers and only meet them.
Correct.
That's going to change. So that's one of the changes that I anticipate is going to happen in the near future in terms of the sales jobs.
Thank you, Mr. Ramkrishna.
Thank you.
And Simran?
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Hi, Mansoor.
Sir, my question is like, being a fresher, according to your view, what are the great opportunities for marketers, like marketing student?
Okay, so as I said, a little more speculative in nature, but I think the opportunities will come in the digital space more, a lot more. As like all other organizations are now talking about moving a lot of their physical resources to the digital medium. So that's one space that I feel marketing is going to. So today, if my budgets for digital marketing was say 5 to 10% of the total marketing budget, that might go up to 50% to 60% or even more. So that's the scale and quantum jump that digital marketing is going to take in the near future. So therefore, that's one space to look out for. Second space is, I think, a lot more in the near future, a lot more contraction in just the marketing. So for every penny that you're going to spend, the organizations are going to demand a lot more outcomes. So how do you ensure that you're a lot more, the campaigns that you're going to run are that much more successful is going to be a big skill that will be required. So as a fresher, you guys might be put into doing a lot of research around this. One of the questions that I had in the past that I spoke to you guys about, consumer research.
Yeah.
That's one space that's going to also become a big place to work in, and that would be the precursor to any marketing role in the near future. That's the other piece that I think.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Rohi Mishra? Rohi Mishra? Hello. Okay, we'll take some questions from Q&A. Meanwhile, there are a lot of questions in Q&A.
Yeah, there are 65. Okay, so
you can choose some.
Yeah, I will. Okay, Jetna Mehta. Good evening. Can you suggest tips to increase data literacy and tech savviness? One of the tips that I learned very early into my career is not to run away from data. I think once you kind of embrace the data and feel that it's a good friend, data is not your enemy, data is your friend, technology is not your enemy, technology is your friend, you will cross 90% of the hurdle. It's the 10% will only come with experience. You will have to keep doing it again and again. First time you'll get it wrong, second time you'll get it wrong, 10th time you might get it wrong. But the 11th time, I think you will find success, which will be a lot more satisfying than what it otherwise would have been. So honestly, for data literacy and tech savviness, you just need to, be there and keep at it. Okay. somebody asked,
Ambika.
Sanjeev Malviya. Sorry, I was reading another question.
Yeah, you can.
Sanjeev Malviya asked me, can we have an idea about hiring plans of HFFC in the new normal? Yes, I mean, we will come back stronger in the new placement cycle again. We hope things will become much better. The demand will grow, particularly listening into the finance minister today, yesterday, and today's one I missed, so I'll have to read the highlights. Hearing from them, I think it's going to be a lot more positive than what we were thinking when we started, going into work from home mode in the early March to April. It's much more positive than that. So hopefully we should be good to come back when the placement season starts. Somebody was asking question.
Ambika Singh.
Hello.
Yeah, Ambika.
Hello, sir. I want to ask that what are the new opportunities and challenges for HR people or the fresher like us who want to pursue their career in HR field?
Okay. So one of the things that HR people should be ready is a lot of spotlight on them. Till some time back, no one bothered about them. Today we are right in the center. I mean, it's just also the number of webinars I've been doing in the past is an indication of how important the function has become suddenly. Well, jokes aside, I mean, we were an important function, so I don't want to take that away. But yeah, the spotlight has been something new. A lot of business decisions are now looked at through the HR lens. So you will see that there will be a lot more hiring in this space, in the space of engagement, because we knew only one way of doing things in the past. Suddenly there are a lot more opportunities that have come up. So we would need people who can kind of think differently, come up with solutions in the new normal, and give us the ability to answer that. So that's going to be the space and scope for HR professionals. Hope I answered the question.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Anuj Goyal, you have a question?
Yes, yes, sir. Sir, I am confused in taking between core finance and finance with analytics as a specialization. Which one makes more sense?
I don't know. It depends on what is more comfortable. I mean, so I would say go take HR, but yeah, I mean, I don't think that you will take. So Anuj, yeah, I mean, it's important that you like what you do. I don't think you should look at it from a point of view of near future specialization. I mean, near future placement or a near future brighter brighter future, etc. Don't look at it very short term. Look at something that you want to do it. I wanted to be a marketeer. I wanted to take up marketing, but I unfortunately couldn't do that. I moved to HR. I've been decently successful. So do what you like. I think any role you pick up, you will be able to do well if you put your heart and soul into it.
Take a few questions from Q&A if you want.
Thank you, sir.
Any more questions? Stop.
There are no questions in this thing, hand raised, but you can take questions from the Q&A box if you want.
Yeah, I'll take a couple more, then I'll have to exit because there are a couple of other meetings that have come up.
Yeah, right.
So so one question from Rui Mishra. Don't you think the students should look for models in their local towns and work with them, build the locality, help people there grow, develop peace, place in the community, pressure on the cities will also go down? Excellent thought, Rui. I support you fully. I think like what the Prime Minister said, local is going to be the forefront of how things are going to be. If you find a model and if you think that there is something that you guys can contribute on, that's exactly what I would do if I was in your place and I was getting an opportunity to do that. There will be a huge benefit to the stress on the urban infrastructure. Maybe I can't say that because I'm from a different town and I came and settled in Bombay and did whatever I did. But yeah, I mean, it's I don't want to preach to you guys, but excellent thought, Rui, to be doing what you just said. Harshil had a question. What changes do you think will happen in the hiring process? Harshil, I think a lot of virtual hiring is going to happen. That's definitely what we are hearing everywhere. A lot of organizations who had a face-to-face interaction will be moving out and doing everything virtually. But having said that, there will be a lot of emphasis on assessments, using tools to identify and hire the right candidate is going to come up in a big way. So it might so happen that you might be writing, say, 20, 30 exams apart from your own exams for each of the organizations. So every organization will think in its own way and come up with a hiring methodology, will come up with a new assessment tool. So there will be some 20, 30 assessment tools that you'll have to participate in. That's the flip side of the new hiring process. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be a big change that I see. Huge focus on assessments. I'll have one last question. Harshil is very the same. He's asked the same question 20 times. Brilliant, man. I can't go down. Yeah, okay, students and faculty members need to prepare for Rajni Anand. I think, I mean, it's not my place to say. I mean, you guys are doing a fabulous job. Great students, brilliant faculty members. I've learned a lot. But one thing that I think you guys need to prepare for is teaching students how to focus on the mindset rather than just the skill set. It's going to be a new world out there. You need to be prepared for whatever the life is going to throw at you. So how do you teach that to the students is going to be the toughest part. How do you tell them that you might learn something, but when you go there, it will be completely different. How do you prepare them for that is going to be the other piece that you'll have to work on. That's about it. I think that's the time I have for questions. Over to you, Agnello.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Your session was really enriching. A lot of thoughts came from you, and we have got a lot of, including me, I've got a lot of inputs out of it that I should be keep learning, because I have stopped learning to some extent. So it's very important that we change and we start learning. Ma'am, you would like to say something? Dr. Preeti Saxena?
Yeah. You cannot start your video because the host.
You can start.
I can't start the video because the host has.
Okay, one minute. Yeah, you can start it now.
Okay, yeah. So I think it was Ramakrishna touched upon many things, and while he was talking, I was like, raring to tell how IBS has actually in a very short time, very swiftly adapted itself and moved on from, the offline kind of teaching to the online teaching. And it has been the last 15-20 days when the faculty has worked almost something like 15 hours a day, forgetting whether it was night or day, the kind of content preparation, working on how to upload contents, the kind of exercise and activities that, that has to go to the class. And the biggest challenge was that we need to keep the enthusiasm of our students alive, and they should be prepared. Up till now, they were in the classrooms with the teacher, talking to them, touching them also, that in the sense like patting their backs for doing a good job. And now they are not going to get all that, which is going to happen virtually. But I personally, I feel, that, I saw that some of them, the kind of, that no, nothing can stop us. We will. So it's a matter of a disruptive phase which has come in. But
True.
once these disruptions settle, then I think a lot of opportunities come up, and what I feel is that business development will never go out, so the
Yep.
sales, the jobs will remain. It's just that the expressions of it will change, So
Yep.
perhaps till now people were meeting in person. Now they may be dealing virtually. And as you said, the data is going to play a lot of role in it, So perhaps at times we did a lot of business on emotions. Now it's going to be more scientific, So people
Yep.
are going to go by the numbers, and they're going to infer based on the numbers, and then offer solutions. But the consumption is going to be there. And our observation is that some sectors go down, some sectors come up. People have to be open, agile, and swift enough to adapt themselves.
Oh yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
the blend of having that patience. If the Prime Minister is saying that things are going to happen, then we need to have that patience for them to unfold. Now what is the kind of time that is going to take? If he's talking about manufacturing is going to lead to consumption. It's going to lead some kind of a supply chain. It's going to lead to advertising, and definitely business development would be required there. And when we are talking of local, vocal, I'm sure the media is definitely going to be required. The supply chain is going to be required. And as he's saying that, let's strengthen the global supply chain. So though the emphasis is going to be on local, but we are also looking at global consumptions. So if we are going to be looking at global consumptions, business is going to be there. And it's a matter of time, but people will not stop traveling. People will not completely remain in homes. There will be mechanisms, devices which will come up with which, people can continue lives the way it is. There is some disruption. So once that is taken care, I'm sure, when people are talking of vaccine, it could be a year, it could be a year and a half, or, but some things will evolve and come out, which is going to bring back things to normalcy. And when there is going to be some kind of, the change, how well we adapt to that change is what is going to decide our acceptance and our adaptation, to the environment. So I feel that students need to be assured that yes, you need to be working on data, you need to be working virtually, you need to be working from homes, adapting yourself to the change, and not brood over it that why this has happened, but opportunities
Yep.
are there and they will remain. So
Definitely.
I would like to thank Mr. Ramakrishna and Business Standard for the opportunity, and all participants for having joined us today. We have series of webinars. We have one more coming up tomorrow morning, and we would like to have similar attendance for the seminar, which is going to be on gig and freelancing. So I think there's going to be a new, we have talked about job opportunities now, and tomorrow we will be talking about what is going to be the freelancing piece in the coming change, which is already set in. So over to Dr. Rita, and I thank everybody for participating. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
I think we must have a word for Ruhi, who has been very crucial and active in getting Mr. Ramakrishna to us. Thank you, Ruhi. And thank you to Mr. Agnello Dias and Rajesh Deshmukh, who we keep on troubling all the time to get us.
Thank you, ma'am.
Speakers.
My pleasure.
Yes. I think we'll hand over now to Agnello, and we'll continue. There were 74 questions.
Yeah.
74
because of lack of time, we couldn't answer them.
So maybe we can compile all those questions.
Most of the questions were covered by Mr. Ramakrishna. He had combined the questions and answered.
Yes.
And many questions were repetitive. So almost we have covered, but if anything is still balanced, we can compile them and ask Mr. Ramakrishna, and we can send the answers to you.
Sure, sure. There were some questions in the chat
happy
also.
to do that. Happy to do that.
So all the participants, we are grateful that you joined us for this session. We strongly believe that you have benefited out of it. If you have any doubts still, you can definitely ask us, ask your teachers, and they'll get back to Mr. Ramakrishna, and they can be answered back to you. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow at 11:30.
Tomorrow 11:30, right? The link
Yeah,
will be
11:30
sent
for the
to
next program. Thank you very much, and all the best to all of you. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Hemant sir. Thank you, Hemant sir.